You're a superhero. You're a superhero.
Lenny Robredo, hindi ka bigo, may tapang, may puso para sa Pilipino. Kay Lenny Robredo, hindi ka bigo, may tapang, may puso para sa Pilipino.
Ang Pilipinas ay matatag, bawat pagsubok kinakaya. Karapat dapat sa kanya ay maayos na pamamahala.
True leaders show up and man up. Kaya po sa darating na Mayo, the best man for the job is a woman.
Join me in this noblest of causes and we will succeed. Sama-sama tayo babangon.
Namin ang may puso na presidente, Bongbong Marcos lang at nag-iisang Duterte. Ang sinisigaw namin ngayon ang malakas, kayo ang kailangan namin dito sa Pinas. Kailangan namin ang may puso na presidente, Bongbong Marcos lang at nag-iisang Duterte.
There we go. You are a bit confused why there is a political advertisement in a moment. Yes, that's because we are going to talk about the Philippine government. In line with this, these are the top 2 leading presidential candidates who make noise all over the Philippines. Who will you gonna vote? But before choosing the right candidate for the presidency, let us all know the functions of the 3 branches in the government. With this, we will be able to identify who will be the best man for the job. And we will be able to know who are capable of doing these functions. Without much further ado, let's begin the quest on the 3 branches of the Philippine government. Government is the system or group of people governing an organized community, generally a state. Government is both a means of enforcing organizational policies and a mechanism for determining policy. Many governments have a kind of constitution, which is a statement of their governing principles and philosophy. Philippines is a republic with a presidential form of government. This system evolves around 3 separate and sovereign yet interdependent branches, which are the legislative branch, executive branch, and the judicial branch. The powers of these branches are vested by Constitution of the Philippines. First one is the legislative branch. This is the law-making body. They are authorized to make laws, alter, and repeal them through the power vested in the Philippine Congress. The legislative power is vested in both the government and the two-chamber Congress, which are the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Senate. The Senate is composed of 24 senators who are elected at large by the qualified voters of the Philippines. The term office of the senators is 6 years. Another composition of the legislative branch is the House of Representatives, or also known as the Congressmen. They are composed of about 250 members elected from legislative districts in the provinces, cities, and municipalities, and representatives elected through a party list system of registered national, regional, and sectoral parties or organizations. The term of office of the members of the House of Representatives or Congressman is 3 years. Party list representatives are one of the compositions of the legislative branch. The party list representatives shall constitute 20% of the total number of representatives, including those under the party list. The second branch of the Philippine government is the executive branch. This is the law enforcing body. The executive branch carries out and enforces laws. It is composed of the president, the vice president, and the cabinet secretaries. Executive power is exercised by the government under the leadership of the president. The president. He or she is the chief executive and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Philippines. The president serves a 6-year term and cannot be re-elected. Next is the vice president. He or she supports the president. The vice president is first in line to succession if the president resigns, is impeached, or dies. He or she serves a 6-year term. The Constitution grants the president authority to appoint his cabinet. These departments form a large portion of the country's bureaucracy. Cabinet members serve as the advisors to the president. They are nominated by the president and must be confirmed by the Commission on Appointments. The third and the last branch of the Philippine government is the judicial branch. This is the law interpreting body. The judicial branch interprets the meaning of laws, applies laws to individual cases, and decides if laws violate the Constitution. Judicial power is vested in the courts, with Supreme Court of the Philippines as the highest judicial body. The judicial branch holds the power to, first, settle actual controversies involving rights which are legally demandable and enforceable. Next is to determine whether or not has been a grave of abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction on the part and instrumentality of the government. The Supreme Court. It has a Chief Justice as its head and 14 associate justices. The justices serve until the age of 70 and holds the power of judicial review as the power to declare a treaty, international or executive agreement, law, presidential decree, proclamation, order, instruction, ordinance, or regulation unconstitutional.
The local government have 3 branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial branch. Local government, the authority to determine and execute measures within a restricted area inside and smaller than a whole state. Under the legislative branch in the local government, it is composed of Sangguniang Panlalawigan, Sangguniang Panglungsod, Sangguniang Bayan, at Sangguniang Pambarangay. The powers of the Sanggunians: approve ordinance and pass resolution necessary for effective and efficient local government, and generate and maximize use of resources and revenues for development plans, program, objectives, and priorities of the local government. Enact annual supplemental appropriate funds to specific programs, projects, and services and activities. Enact ordinances levying taxes, fees, and charges, and grant tax exemptions, incentives, and reliefs. Under the executive branch, it is composed of governor, vice governor, mayor, vice mayor, and the barangay chairman. The governor or punong panlalawigan exercise general supervision and control over all programs, projects, services, and activities of the local government, and visit component cities and municipalities of the province at least once in every 6 months to know and address the concern of official and inhabitants, and to formulate fees and order plan of the province and implement the same. The vice governor be the presiding officer of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, appoint official and employees of the Sanggunian, and assume the office, exercise powers and duties of the governor in the event of permanent vacancy. The municipal mayor is the chief executive officer of the town, to execute all laws and municipal ordinances, to supervise the administration of the town, and to issue orders relative to the maintenance of peace and order, and to preside over the meetings of the municipal council and to recommend measures to the municipal council aimed at the improvement of the social and economic condition of the people. The vice mayor be the presiding officer of the Sangguniang Panglungsod or Sangguniang Bayan, appoint official and employees of the Sanggunian, and assume the office, exercise powers and duties of the mayor in the event of permanent vacancy. As chief executive, the barangay captain is its recognized leader. He enforces all the laws and ordinances applicable to his constituency. Lastly is the judicial branch in the local government. It is composed of city courts and municipal trial courts. To encourage and pursue amicable settlement of civil cases and light criminal offenses through mediation and judicial dispute resolution.